You knew they would smile at you again. You let your guard down anyway, not because you're foolish, because you've been trained by every movie, every childhood lesson, every well-meaning parent, to believe that kindness is safety. It isn't. The strange part isn't that the nicest person in the room hurt you. The strange part is that you never saw it coming, even though the signs were sitting in plain sight. And before this video ends, you'll discover the one trait that separates a genuinely good person from someone using goodness as a weapon. Most people never learn to tell the difference. That mistake costs them years. Stop. Read that again. Because right now, somewhere in your life, there is a person you trust completely. Someone whose kindness has never once been questioned. This video is not about strangers. It's about them. Here's what nobody tells you about niceness. It's the cheapest disguise in existence. Cruelty announces itself. It raises its voice, clenches its fists, makes enemies. Everyone learns to watch out for the loud ones. Nobody watches the soft-spoken one refilling your glass, remembering your birthday, agreeing with everything you say. That's exactly why it works. A study on interpersonal trust once found something uncomfortable. People extend the least scrutiny to those who perform warmth the most consistently. Not warmth that's earned through years of tested loyalty. Warmth that's simply displayed, on repeat, like a costume that never comes off. You stopped questioning them a long time ago. That's the design. But that's not the darkest truth. There's another layer, far more dangerous, and it lives inside the compliments you've never once doubted. Think about the last time someone agreed with you instantly. No pushback, no hesitation. Just warm, immediate validation. Felt good, didn't it? Here's the uncomfortable question. Did they agree because they believed you, or because agreement is the fastest way to gain access to you? Machiavelli understood something most people spend their whole lives refusing to accept. The appearance of virtue is more useful than virtue itself. A prince who seems generous, merciful, and honest can move entire kingdoms, while a prince who is actually those things without strategy gets used by everyone around him. The nicest person in the room isn't lying to you. Exactly. They're managing you, and management done well never feels like management. Feels like friendship. But wait, not yet. There's a piece of this you haven't seen, and it's the piece that explains why you keep letting them back in. You think you forgive them because you're a good person. Wrong. You forgive them because your identity has quietly attached itself to being the one who understands, who doesn't overreact, who sees the good in everyone. Somewhere along the way, being agreeable stopped being a value and became a role you're terrified to break character from. That's not virtue. That's a leash, and you tied it yourself. Read that again. The nicest person in the room knows this about you before you know it about yourself. They didn't manipulate you into it. You built the trap, and they simply learned where the door was. This is where most people lose. Now here's the twist that changes everything. Real kindness has edges. Says no. It disappoints people sometimes. It protects its own boundaries even when that costs approval. Performed kindness has no edges at all because edges create friction, and friction gets noticed. The nicest person in the room has spent years sanding down every rough surface until nothing about them registers as a threat. Silence isn't always peace. Sometimes it's surrender dressed up as maturity. Agreement isn't always respect. Sometimes it's strategy wearing a friendly face. And mercy without boundaries doesn't make you generous. It makes you available. Available to be underestimated. Available to be used. Available to be the last person in the room who sees what's actually happening. But that's only half the story. Here's the part that will genuinely disturb you. The most dangerous people rarely think of themselves as dangerous. They believe their own performance. That's what makes it undetectable, even to a lie detector, even to themselves in the mirror at night. A person who knows they're manipulating you gives off tension, a flicker of guilt, something your instincts can catch. A person who has fully merged with their own mask gives off nothing. No tensión. No tell. Because as far as their nervous system is concerned, the mask is the face now. This is the danger Machiavelli warned rulers about. Not the obvious enemy at the gate, but the trusted advisor whose loyalty was never tested because it was never questioned. You don't fear the wolf that howls. You fear the one that learned to walk on two legs, wear your family's colors, and sit at your table every night. So how do you actually protect yourself without becoming cold, suspicious, or cynical about every warm person you meet? You stop grading people on how they treat you when things are easy. Kindness under zero cost means nothing. Anyone can be warm when nothing is being asked of them. The real test is what happens the moment their kindness costs them something: money, time, reputation, comfort. Watch what a person does when disagreeing with you is inconvenient for them. Watch what happens when the room isn't watching. Watch whether their niceness survives contact with a situation where being honest would make them look worse than being agreeable. That's the entire test. Most people fail it without ever realizing they were being tested. Now let's go back to where we started. You knew they would hurt you again. You answered the phone anyway, not because you're weak, because somewhere inside you, a much older, much wiser instinct already knew the truth. This video just spent the last few minutes proving to your conscious mind. The softest voice in your life has never once been cross-examined. That ends today, not by becoming harder, not by trusting no one, but by finally understanding this: the opposite of manipulation isn't kindness. The opposite of manipulation is kindness that can survive being tested. Anyone can be nice when it costs them nothing. Respect yourself enough to notice who's still kind when it costs them everything. That is the only kind of goodness worth trusting. If this video made you see someone or yourself in a completely different light, this conversation is worth continuing. Tell us in the comments. When was the last time someone's kindness only survived as long as it was convenient for them? Someone reading your answer might finally understand a pattern they've been living inside for years.